If you've been trying to moderate or cut back, but you're finding that it's either not working or at least not working consistently, or hey, maybe it's working, but it is so exhausting that you just don't even know if it's worth it, well, you're not alone. It happens to the best of us, which is why in this video, we're going to be breaking down exactly why moderation fails so often and what to do instead. Once you understand these concepts, it's going to give you the freedom and peace of mind to know how to actually address this issue once and for all so you can get off the roller coaster and not have any more of those mornings where you wake up and you're just so angry at yourself, you're beating yourself up, you're making promises, you're having to dig yourself out of the hole again. Yes, it sucks. If you know what I'm talking about, stay tuned. This video is specifically for you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Amber Hollingsworth, and I've been helping people and families overcome addictions before they hit bottom for more than 20 years now. This channel is all about helping you understand the science and psychology of addiction so that you can stay 5 steps ahead of it. That's really the only way to beat addiction, is to outsmart it. Once you understand how it works and why it works the way it does, you'll be able to get ahead of it and stay ahead of it. 5 steps ahead of it, to be exact. Moderation can feel impossible sometimes. The whole journey of trying to moderate it, cut it back, set all these little rules for yourself, it's like a roller coaster, because sometimes it works. It works really well. In fact, most of the time it works, but there are always those occasions where the dam breaks, and when the dam breaks, not good stuff happens. And man, does it suck the next day having to wake up and deal with all that mess. And some of you even know that it sucks so bad that you just keep it going on for a few days because you're just running from it and procrastinating on digging yourself out of the doghouse again. But at some point, you always have to gather yourself back together, face all the consequences and the people and the uncomfortable conversations, and put one foot in front of the other and keep moving forward. Seems to make a lot more sense than giving it up completely. Well, at least it makes a lot more sense in theory, but in practice, it's not always the case. If you've been struggling to moderate, if you've been making little promises to yourself and you do good for a while and then you fall off the horse, it's not because you don't mean it when you make the promises. In fact, if it works for you sometimes, then it probably means you're trying really hard. So I don't want you to beat yourself up so much about why you can't consistently stay on track the way you want to stay on track. It's actually all about the biology, which is why I want to really break down the biology of it in this video. Don't worry, we're not going to get too nerdy, but we are going to go deep enough into the science for you to understand this, because once this light bulb goes off in your head, you're going to be like, oh yeah, that's me. That's why this is not working. And then you're going to have a better idea about what to do instead. Okay, so for the purpose of this video, we're going to be talking about how to cut back some kind of substance use. Alcohol, drugs, smoking, whatever it is, some kind of drug or alcohol. You have a bad habit of it, or maybe you have a full-out addiction of it, and you want to cut it back, or you want to reduce it, or you want to stop using one thing and start using another thing, or maybe you want to stop drinking hard liquor and you just want to drink beer or wine or something like that. All of those things are completely normal and natural. But let's talk about what actually happens in your brain when you try to do that. So in recovery, addiction, brain science, there's a concept that I call the rebound effect. And so whatever a drug does for you that we like initially, maybe it calms you down, maybe it speeds you up, maybe it makes you feel less self-conscious, whatever it does for you on the front end that you really like, the way your brain tries to adapt to that is by producing the opposite chemical in your brain, which produces the opposite feeling in your brain. So for example, if your thing is stimulants like cocaine or Adderall or meth or whatever, any kind of stimulant, initially you like the fact that it gives you all that energy and that focus and that motivation, but what happens on the back end of that? Right? It's the opposite. It's depression. It's crash. It's hopelessness. It's I can't even get up out of the bed. I can't even make myself get a shower. It is the exact opposite of all that energy and motivation. That's because the brain is constantly trying to balance itself out. And so when you try to push your brain chemicals in one direction, then your brain tries to bring you back down to balance by pushing in the opposite direction. So it's like you're pushing go and it's pushing stop. Or that can actually happen in reverse too. Like, for example, let's say you like more like on the depressant end of drugs, like maybe you like things that make you calm down or feel mellow. Initially, you get that effect. You feel settled, your thoughts stop racing, you can just be present and calm and not an anxious, nervous wreck for 5 minutes. Feels nice in the moment. But the way your brain tries to bring you back into balance is trying to balance out that substance that you're putting in, is to produce the opposite brain chemical that produces the opposite feeling. Just think about it. After a day or two of drinking too much or taking some kind of benzodiazepine or even like a sleeping pill or a sedative or something, what happens? The next day, so like after taking some kind of depressant drug like alcohol or a benzodiazepine, what happens is the rebound effect from that, it's a lot of that jittery, anxiousy, come out of your skin kind of feeling. It actually comes from a chemical called glutamate. That's one of the chemicals. It's the big one here. There's some more, but that's the important one. It makes your thoughts go 100 miles an hour. It makes you feel like you have this restless energy. You probably wake up at some ungodly time of the morning. You can't go back to sleep. Your head's going 100 miles an hour. You're anxious, you're nervous, you're irritable, thinking about all kind of crazy things, and you just wish it would stop. That's the rebound effect from the depressant drug. It's like your brain is trying to push the gas because you're trying to push the brake. If you want to know what the withdrawal symptom is, it's the opposite of whatever you want that substance to do for you. For example, if it's pain medicine, what's the withdrawal symptom from pain medicine? It's pain. Lots and lots and lots of pain, like excruciating pain. That's all about how the brain is constantly trying to normalize out our brain chemistry. So now that you got that little piece, you understand that, let's add this layer onto the top, because this is where it gets really important. If your brain is used to you using a substance at like a certain time of day or in a certain amount, or maybe it's used to it every day at like 5 o'clock, or it's used to it every weekend, your brain kind of gets like muscle memory, right? And it starts to automatically assume that that chemical is coming on board. And when it starts to get that muscle memory and it's automatically assuming that chemical is coming on board, it's going to start automatically producing that rebound effect, those opposite brain chemicals. It's like it's preemptively trying to get ahead of you. It's because it's gotten so used to you using at this real predictable pattern, it just gets itself on autopilot. It's like, I got this, man. And it starts producing all those chemicals. When you try to cut down, control, use something less hard or something like that, your brain is trained the other way. So just as soon as you put that chemical, whatever it is, into your body, your brain automatically releases the rebound chemicals for the amount that it's used to using. That whole tolerance thing. So for example, if you're used to drinking a gallon of wine a day, then your brain immediately, and sometimes it's even before you put the alcohol in, sometimes just like at the time of day you would normally drink, your brain starts to produce all that glutamate and all those rebound chemicals. And so that's why it is so hard to stop once you start. You see, so many of the people that I coach and help, they actually can stop their substance use. It's more that they can't stop once they start. It's so confusing because you make all these promises to yourself. You mean it. You set up all these little like systems and traps. You got whole like crazy systems in place where you're setting all these limits for yourself. And it's all well-intentioned. But the problem is, it's that muscle memory. It's the fact that it's kind of like once you learn to swim, you can't unlearn how to swim. So if I threw you into the deep end of the swimming pool and I told you not to swim, you're going to swim. You can't help it, right? That's what's going to happen with your brain. So it immediately assumes you're going to have that gallon of wine, and it starts to anticipate that, which is why it's so hard to stick with those limits that you're setting for yourself, even when you really, really mean it. Now you got those two pieces. You got that rebound effect. You got that why is it so hard to cut back, that autopilot effect. Now I want you to layer this piece on the top. Now I got those two pieces. Let's layer the third piece on the top here, which is the fact that over the course of you developing this habit, this pattern, this addiction, whatever you want to call it, you've developed like a really high tolerance. So the truth of it is, a little bit, it's just not going to do nothing for you. So even if you didn't have all that rebound effect and all that other stuff we just talked about, it's just not fun. Like if your tolerance is a gallon of wine a day, 2 beers, it's just not going to do much for you. All it's going to do is make you thirsty. And you can apply that to any substance that you want. Your tolerance is your tolerance. And it doesn't really go backwards. Okay, there's one exception to that, but it's not an exception. Like if you stop for a long time, the first time you go back to using, like maybe the first or second time, you'll have a lower tolerance. But I'm telling you, it won't last more than like a couple of days. Your tolerance will go back exactly to the way it was before because your brain already has that programming and it says, okay, I know what's on, game on, and it goes right back into those old systems. So here's the deal. Most people can't consistently moderate. And that feels like the worst news possible, but it's actually not the worst news. Because here's what I want you to know about that. Even if you could moderate it, it's just not going to be that fun. Let's just be real, right? If your tolerance is this high and you're trying to do this much and your tolerance really just isn't going to go back down the way you want it to, it's just going to leave you wanting more. It's going to be like kind of like a little tease. And so you're going to constantly keep yourself in like a craving state, in an irritable state. And when you're putting it in little drips at a time, it's like your brain chemicals, those ones we were just talking about, they never get to rebalance your dopamines, your serotonins, your GABAs, your glutamates, your all the things, right? It doesn't get to rebalance, which means even if you're successful at being able to moderate, it's really freaking hard because you have to fight cravings all the time. Like that desire never goes away when you're just putting a little drip in there. And so it takes all of your willpower and your energy. You have to create all those systems. You have to have like all these crazy little things you do. Listen, I've heard them all. Like, for example, if you're a drinker, you probably are buying the mini bottles and you're probably rationing them out. And you're probably saying, I'm only going to buy this mini. And then you promise yourself, I'm just going to take these 3 little mini bottles or whatever it is. And then what happens? And then you take the 3 little mini bottles and then you get back in the car and go get more. I know it's terrible. I'm not advocating that. I'm just saying that's what happens. You know that's what happens. I know in our minds it's like moderation. Okay, that's the best. I can keep it in my life and I don't have to give it up completely. At least some is better than none. But I want you to stop and really analyze if that's true for you. I think some is actually a lot worse than none because it's not fun. You don't get the good euphoric effect from it anymore because it's not enough to hit your tolerance level, but it is enough to keep your brain from healing. And it is enough to keep you craving and irritable and in a bad mood and wanting more all the time. So you see, for most people, it's just not worth it. A lot of the clients I see, I'm like, well, you might be able to do it. Most people are really not able to do it consistently, but even the ones that are able to do it, it's too much work. And it's just honestly, it's just not worth it. I know the idea of giving up completely sounds like the worst thing ever, and that's for a few reasons. One is you've gotten to the point where you've used it so habitually that your brain needs it to be able to experience relief, joy, happiness, contentment, all those good emotions. And it feels like life without it sounds horrible, and that's because right now life without it is pretty much withdrawal. So when you think about life without it, I want you to understand that's not what sober life is like. That's what withdrawal life is like. You have to get over that hump where you clean it out completely for all those brain chemicals to re-stabilize. And I know it's really hard to believe, so you probably don't take it from me, but hey, look at the comments on some of my other videos and see it for yourself. But eventually, if you just stop, I call it feeding the monsters, then your brain chemicals normalize and you're able to experience joy and happiness and contentment. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. You're not going to have those giant euphoric moments, but you're also not going to have those horrible, terrible lows that really just make you want to give up, crawl into a hole, and never come out. Wouldn't it be nice not to have that anymore? And I'm not even talking about the feeling bad part. I'm talking about the being mad at yourself part. The whole having to have those crappy conversations part, all the promises and the accusations and, all the things. It's very unpleasant to say the least. Wouldn't it be nice not to have to deal with that anymore? Wouldn't it be nice to actually enjoy things? And there's another reason. There's actually another reason why the whole idea of being completely sober sounds terrible. And that one's a little tricky. It's more psychological in nature. It's because you've spent a lot of years probably convincing yourself that you love this substance, the greatest thing ever, it fixes all your problems, you'd never want to live without it, people that don't do it are just stupid or lame or idiot or just uptight or whatever you've told yourself. And so you've been validating that for so long, it's hard for you to accept maybe you're wrong about it. Or at least, hey, maybe you don't want to say I was wrong about it. You could say, maybe there's more to the picture that I wasn't considering. I'm not saying there's not great parts about it. Of course, there's great parts about it. If there weren't, you would have never got in the habit of it. But what I am saying is if you're watching this video, you've probably gotten to the point where the bad has started to outweigh the good. And so you're trying to damage control it by cutting it back, reducing it, using less frequently, only on special occasions, weekends, whatever. But it's just not working for you. It's really hard to believe until you try it, but the whole sober thing is actually much, much easier than the whole moderating thing. I think moderation is like purgatory. There's nothing good in there. It's not enough to be fun, let's face it, but it is enough to keep the misery in place. So if you've been thinking about the whole abstinence sobriety thing and you're not sure what you think, just give it a try, just see what you think about it. If you're going to do that, you got to do it for like 30 days minimum, because you're going to need those good 30 days for your brain chemicals to stabilize and, your joy, happy, motivation chemicals to start to come back into play. So if you don't stop for like at least 30 days, you're not going to get a good sampling of what sober life really is. You're still going to be in that withdrawal phase. Not that acute withdrawal phase. That's over within the first week or two. But you just don't start getting back to your stuff until at least 30 days. And then after that, it gets a little better and a little better and a little bit every day. Now, I bet a lot of you watching this video, you've actually tried that. You've actually been sober for extended periods of time. And when you think back on it, here's what you're remembering. You're remembering, actually, I did feel a lot better. Actually, I got a lot done. I felt a lot more motivated. My relationships are better. I don't really know why I went back to it. Well, actually, I do know why I went back to it. It's because I thought I kind of missed it, and I thought it would be different this time. So I went back, and here I am again, right? If you remember back, if you don't want to believe me, then listen to somebody else who's tried it. And if you don't want to believe them, listen to yourself, because you've probably tried it and you probably know that what I'm saying is the truth. That even in your own experience, once you got sober, you stayed sober for, longer than a few weeks, things in life got better. Everything got simpler. You thought about it less and less. It became less and less difficult. The cravings just eventually go away. You live your life. Eventually, you don't even miss it. In fact, eventually, not only do you not miss it, but you feel sorry for other people who are still caught in that trap, because you remember exactly how miserable it is. Now, if you're caught in this trap and you want to figure this out, and maybe you need a sounding board, then I just want to encourage you to, hey, talk to a counselor, talk to a coach, join an online group, a forum, a Reddit, anywhere. Have a place to brainstorm some of this, because talking about it out loud or even writing about it helps you to sort through your thoughts and feelings on this. And if you don't have anywhere safe to do that, where you feel like you can do that without judgment, without feeling pushed and having privacy, then you can even look at my Amber AI program, which is like a recovery coach that's in your pocket, available 24/7. And you don't have to worry about the judgment or being pushed. It's just a great place to sort through your thoughts and feelings about this and decide where you stand and what works for you. Now, if your interest is piqued just a little bit, I'm going to put the link to Amber AI and a bunch of other resources in the description. And I want you to watch this video next. It's called What is Getting Sober Really Like? To give you a real accurate representation of what to expect in the first few weeks, and then after that, and then after that. So click on this video. I think it's going to be super helpful for you.